Good to be with you from our nation's capital. I'm Tony DeCopel. The breaking news right now. America celebrates 250 years of freedom with triple-digit temperatures and nearly 160 million people under heat alerts in 27 states. The 911 calls here in Washington, D.C. as people wait in line for hours to get onto the National Mall. And now the severe weather alerts for the East Coast. Dangerous lightning and high winds expected. Rob Marciano with a forecast. And the tight security in major cities tonight as celebrations get underway.
How are you planning, not just for a possible incident, but for crowd safety if something were to go wrong? Can you evacuate the National Mall?
We've been very actively studying the best way to evacuate the mall if we need to.
President Trump speaking tonight after a warning at Mount Rushmore.
Communism is a mortal threat to American liberty.
And the royal wedding, American edition. Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce say "I do" last night, what sources are telling CBS about the vows and the guest list. Fireworks versus drones, why some cities are making the switch. And later, a star-spangled relay, a single flag carried by runners from sea to shining sea. And we were there as they crossed the finish line.
This is a special edition of the CBS Evening News with Tony DeCopel, reporting tonight from our nation's capital on America's 250th birthday.
Good evening, and would you look at the time? The years, they just keep coming, and one day you wake up and you're 250 years old. Happy birthday, America. No one's perfect, but think of all you've given us, from jazz to the Super Bowl, not to mention that once radical idea that in America, the people rule. Millions are out celebrating that idea and much more today with events planned from coast to coast. But in many places, including right here in Washington, D.C., they are also battling the heat and worrying about severe weather, and that's where we're going to begin tonight with CBS News correspondent Lana Zak. Lana, good evening.
Good evening, Tony. The scorching heat with temperatures that feel like 104 degrees have not spoiled the 4th of July festivities here in New York City. In the air, a military flyover. On the water, a parade of tall ships cruise the harbor to celebrate our nation's 250th birthday.
There are a lot of heat-related illnesses. I got you. People are just dropping.
In Washington, D.C., the highly anticipated 4th of July parade was canceled as the city sweltered in 103-degree heat. The Great American State Fair also delayed opening.
So the heat is special and then some.
But in much of the country, the show went on. Festive parades fused patriotism with pragmatism.
Put sunscreen on and don't wear dark colors.
From parades to parks. Look at how quickly playground equipment can heat up. Here, the temperature's reading 131 degrees. How are you keeping her cool?
We're dunking her in the water, keeping the sky powered.
Yesterday, the brutal heat eased when late-day storms blasted through Coney Island, forcing beachgoers to run for cover. Fierce winds also snapped trees and damaged power lines in New Jersey. Over at Chicago's Wrigley Field, flooding. As the sudden storm moved through Wisconsin yesterday, 3 children died when the boat they were on capsized in Lake Geneva. And in Florida, 1 person died yesterday when a group of swimmers were struck by lightning at Fort Myers Beach.
He was laying near the water. There was already a paramedic doing CPR, and we just kept doing CPR until paramedics came.
And as challenging as this weather is for all of us, it's worth noting that the men and women of the NYPD are out here in their full uniforms and their security vests, enduring these extreme temperatures alongside us to keep all of us safe. Tony.
Yeah, we thank them for their work. Lana, thank you as well. Now let's get to that forecast, including the threat of severe weather. The wind's picking up right here. You know, Rob, I looked it up, and on this day 250 years ago, Thomas Jefferson measured the temperature in Philadelphia at 76 degrees, which sounds pretty dreamy right about now. What are you reading?
Yeah, that was much more comfortable. I mean, Philly hit a full 25 degrees warmer than that, got up to 101 degrees today. 3rd day in the row of triple digits. That's a record for Philadelphia, the birthplace of America. But we do have the severe weather. This heat's fueling some of that. You're surrounded by it right now in D.C. North and south, severe thunderstorms there may very well converge on the nation's capital before the evening is out. All the northeast I-95 corridor is under a severe thunderstorm watch until 10 o'clock tonight, with gusts up to 75 miles an hour. Yes, some hail, flash flooding, but damaging winds. And you can see the red blobs moving through D.C. in the next few hours. Timing is going to be critical. Then the northern wave kind of comes through New York City, 8, 9, 10 o'clock, right around when the fireworks are going off here. So it's going to be dicey timing, not just for the fireworks, but for what you do with the crowds, and then waning as we go. 106 in Atlantic City, that ties an all-time record. And then temperatures in the triple digits in Baltimore, D.C., and D.C. 102. That's another record tying there. Extreme heat warning up with the humidity. I don't have to tell you what it feels like. It's miserable. Well up and over 105 degrees. And then it's going to be muggy across the east, much more comfortable in the west, and certainly much more comfortable 250 years ago. Tony, be careful of those storms tonight. It's going to be a little bit dangerous here in the next couple of hours.
Yeah, a little bit cooler, though, as well. Rob, thank you very much. Quick word about security here tonight. It involves miles of fencing, TSA-style airport screenings, bag checks, metal detectors, and a long list of prohibited items, including aerosol sunscreen, selfie sticks, and drink tumblers. Here's CBS News Homeland Security and Justice correspondent Nicole Skanga.
A celebration wrapped in steel as the nation's capital prepares for big crowds and extreme weather. And so, Special Agent in charge, this is the president's box.
Correct.
In charge, the U.S. Secret Service and Special Agent Tara McLeese. How are you planning not just for a possible incident, but for crowd safety if something were to go wrong? Can you evacuate the National Mall?
We absolutely can evacuate the National Mall. We have experts from Health and Human Services, physicians, D.C. Fire and EMS that are hyper-focused on not only the health and medical plan, and we've been very actively studying the best way to evacuate the mall if we need to, and I think we have a great plan.
Nearly 5,000 National Guard members will be patrolling the streets of Washington, D.C. That's on top of hundreds of officers from 44 different police agencies nationwide that have been sworn in to help protect this event. This morning, members of the white nationalist group, the Patriot Front, were spotted marching near Union Station.
We've probably got 100 different agencies here.
Watching over everything, a team of law enforcement officials here at the Joint Information Center. What is your message to the public that is going out to see the fireworks tonight?
The message is this, is we broke the temperature record for Washington, D.C. for the 4th of July today. So be careful, take breaks, drink lots of water, and when you need a break, get somewhere air conditioned.
The U.S. Coast Guard is leading maritime patrols around the Capitol.
This is going to be the biggest firework event in history.
Already, there have been more than 2,000 911 calls made citywide, but no arrests made in connection to the America 250 festivities. One big concern, of course, people standing in this heat, and we've seen several medical transports from the National Mall to area hospitals, on top of dozens more who have been treated at medical tents. Tony?
Yeah, easy to understand why. Nicole, thank you. There is, of course, no one way to celebrate American independence. George Washington poured double rations of rum for the soldiers. John Adams called for pomp and parades. But how about a great American state fair? CBS News Money Watch correspondent Kelly O'Grady stopped by the one here to see how it's going.
A party worth waiting for, with attendees from across the country.
So we're from Florida?
We're from Alabama, St. Louis, Missouri.
The Great American State Fair boasted 150 exhibits, along with a rodeo and flyovers.
What are you enjoying so far at the State Fair?
We have been walking around and getting all these stamps. There's a passport you can get.
Going around looking at all the different pavilions is pretty neat.
Why'd you guys come to D.C. to celebrate America's birthday?
It's 250 years of America, and also it's her birthday set as well.
What does it feel like to share a birthday with America? It's amazing.
Perhaps the main attraction, though, the Ferris wheel.
So this Ferris wheel is 110 feet high. It's the only one that's ever been on the National Mall, but State Fair organizers are hoping that it could become permanent.
And we weren't the only ones, with the line getting up to multiple hours.
Great experience, great view, and we had the planes fly over.
4th of July, it's about celebrating being American. What does that mean to you?
It means so much to us because we are American and it's the best we can do.
We got a
Kelly, thank you very much. It is hot and it is pricey out there in much of America, but that's not stopping people from traveling this weekend. 72 million of us are expected to be on the move. That would be a new record, with some potential new headaches as well. Here's CBS News senior transportation correspondent Chris Van Cleve.
Today's impressive array of hourly flyovers of Washington, D.C. has halted operations at Reagan National Airport, clearing the skies of commercial air traffic. Flights will resume Sunday when the TSA expects nearly 3 million will pass through airport checkpoints nationwide. Since late May, the TSA has screened nearly 118 million people, up about 2% from the same period last year, despite travel costs surging 11% and airlines flying about 8% fewer flights.
The numbers seem to be plateauing.
Aixa Diaz from AAA.
What we're seeing is that consumers are still spending. They may be strapped, they may not like it, they may complain about it, but a lot of travelers are still making those trips happen.
The extreme temperatures gripping much of the country continue to cause delays and cancellations on the rails, forcing Amtrak and commuter trains to slow down service to avoid heat-related issues. And at airports across about 2/3 of the country, the crews working the ramp are braving the elements, trying to keep millions of holiday travelers on schedule. Shannon Shepard is an American Airlines crew chief at Dallas-Fort Worth Airport.
Yeah, that is the biggest factor to most of us that work down here on the ramp is the heat.
Does that change, like, the cadence that you guys work when it's really hot?
Yes, we do. We tend to take a few more water breaks and try to limit the amount of sun exposure.
When it comes to the drive home, AAA encourages people to avoid Sunday afternoon and early evening, as that'll be the busiest time on the roads. The FAA said the decision to suspend operations here at Reagan National Airport really was a focus on the safe and efficient movement of aircraft during the July 4th celebration.
All right, Chris, thank you very much. And tonight, President Trump is delivering a speech right here on the National Mall. But last night, he was at Mount Rushmore with a warning. CBS News congressional correspondent Nicole Killian reports.
Tonight, President Trump headlines a salute to America on the National Mall. He teased his speech on Truth Social, writing, "Despite the heat, which isn't as bad as predicted, the crowds in D.C. are incredible." Earlier, there was a show of force in the skies with military jet flyovers and parachuting Golden Knights unfurling the American flag, all in advance of the grand finale. Organizers are promising the largest fireworks display in history with 850,000 fireworks. Patriotic pyrotechnics illuminated Mount Rushmore, where the president kicked off America's semi-quincentennial celebration Friday.
There is no American founding without the American people.
Beneath the stone busts of Washington, Jefferson, Roosevelt, and Lincoln, the president also delivered an ominous warning, casting some of his political opponents as communist.
These are not mere political disagreements like differences over taxes or regulations. Communism is a mortal threat to American liberty.
In New York today, Vice President J.D. Vance struck a different tone after viewing a parade of tall ships.
All of us had our part, our role to play in creating 250 years of a proud American story. And all of us will need to do our part to create the next 250 years of American greatness.
Former Presidents Biden, Obama, Bush, and Clinton all issued statements on the nation's founding, describing the fight for democracy as a continual work in progress. Tony?
That it is. Nicole, thank you very much. On a typical July 4th, you and the rest of America light the fuse on hundreds of millions of pounds of fireworks. But some communities are turning to a cleaner, quieter alternative. Here's CBS News senior national correspondent Mark Strassman.
This one's equipped to have pyrotechnics. It's got additional safety equipment.
Preston Ward's a professional crowd pleaser with a fleet of options. The hundreds of drones parked for flight to celebrate this year's 4th near Fort Worth.
The first one we did in this field 5 years ago was 100 drones, and now we have 2,500 drones.
Preston told us just in this field, $3 million in drones. Then consider this.
We're doing over 150 shows this week.
Just your company?
Just my company.
Most Americans will salute America's 250th watching traditional fireworks. But hundreds of communities have switched to drone shows, including Salt Lake City, or a hybrid of drones and fireworks, including Nashville. Drones are quieter, cleaner, and in drought areas, safer. Roughly a dozen communities in Colorado this year had to cancel their fireworks, afraid of sparking an actual fire.
Every year it's expanding. Every year more and more communities are wanting to either add a drone show element or in some cases replace the pyrotechnic element with the drone show.
North Tarrant County in Texas switched to a hybrid drone show 8 years ago.
The first time we did it, they went crazy. They were clapping. They clapped for like 2 minutes afterwards.
They did again for this year's 250th celebration. This drone version of an American eagle flying over fireworks. George Washington approves. Mark Strassman, CBS News, Tarrant County, Texas.
Mark, thank you. Still ahead tonight on the CBS Evening News, that other big shebang this weekend, what we know about Taylor Swift's wedding and its standout moments. Well, the vows have been exchanged, and ever so slowly we are learning new details about that other big event this holiday weekend. Of course, the wedding of Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce. CBS News national correspondent Lilia Luciano has more now on the I-dos and the guest list.
Outside Madison Square Garden, the party is over. Lights, platforms, and speakers moved out of the Swift-Kelce wedding venue. And now details of the big night inside the arena are trickling out. J-Lo, Selena Gomez, Maren Morris, and Kelsey Ballerini posing in their wedding finery. Peach-colored carpets and drapes, a party favor with Swift's blank space lyrics, "So It's Gonna Be Forever." In a now-deleted X post, AMC CEO Adam Aron shared the couple transformed the venue into a secret garden. The vows the bride and groom wrote, emotional and charming. Camera crews caught Swift's aunt leaving the venue last night.
They cried and they laughed and they danced and they hugged and they kissed.
The couple's friend and comedian Adam Sandler wasn't the wedding singer, but the officiant. Breaking tradition, Swift's brother Austin served as man of honor and Kelce's brother Jason, best man. And that something blue, the Empire State Building delivered.
I mean, the sky is the limit for them.
Misty Hagnes wrote the book Swiftonomics.
They've both been really successful independently and thinking about how they're going to merge that. And it's going to be really fun to watch their relationship and their careers evolve together.
Lilia Luciano, CBS News, New York.
Lilia, thanks. Ahead in a moment, the parades all around the country. We'll be right back. Some breaking news now from this America 250 celebration here in Washington, D.C. You can see the wind all around me. Well, a section of fence near a security checkpoint collapsed moments ago in that high winds as the storm swept through. A CBS News crew member witnessed at least one worker getting medical attention. We'll keep you updated if we have more details. For all the attention on big city 4th of July festivities, smaller towns lit the flame first and are keeping it alive today. So we move on to that. In North Wildwood, New Jersey, kids on bikes and families with decorated dogs led the way. Look at those pictures. While in Idaho Falls, Idaho, it was high school marching bands and military veterans in the annual Liberty on Parade parade. And Stuart Manor, New York, meanwhile, has a tradition of tossing water balloons at the parade while the marchers throw them back. Looks pretty fun. Up next, the good stuff and what it was like to run the last mile with the Great American Flag Relay. We are back with the good stuff, and they did it, ladies and gentlemen. Relay for America, which we first told you about earlier this week, ran the American flag from San Francisco to Washington, D.C. They did it nonstop for 20 days and nights for more than 3,000 miles on a mission of unity heading to the 4th of July holiday. And they finished this morning at a park just outside the Capitol. What started as a crazy idea from Joe Nail, a 30-year-old Army National Guard officer, and his running buddy, a 24-year-old social media star named Wyatt Moss, grew to hundreds of runners and thousands of supporters and volunteers. And for the last few miles this morning, I even ran along with them, honored to be a part of it. Although lots of people brought their own flags along the way, I asked Joe and Wyatt about the one single flag that made the entire journey and what it meant to them.
It is a classic American story from a tractor supply in a border town in Texas, sold to us by an Army veteran years ago that planted the seed for this all the way to our nation's capital. What more American story is there than that?
It just goes to show that American spirit is alive and well, Tony. It's alive and well.
To drive that point home, they arranged for that flag to fly in one of the cockpits of the Air Force Thunderbirds overhead here just a few moments ago. Their one wish for everyone is to not waste the feeling they have today, not to forget it tomorrow on this 4th of July. 250 years, it's a major milestone, and yet there is still a lot of road up ahead. That's another day in America. I'm Tony DeCopel. Thank you for watching, and happy 4th of July. Please continue the party by joining us at 8 for our Great American Block Party. And on Monday, don't forget, we'll be in Seattle for the U.S. Men's World Cup game. Happy 4th. We'll see you tomorrow. Good night.